Hey everybody, my name is Aaron Hilliard. You might know me from my personal YouTube channel. A few years ago, I was putting out quite a few model railroad videos, but I actually tore down the old layout and just kind of lost interest for a while. But as I know it always does, the interest has came back. It usually happens in the dark, rainy months of the year for me. And typically I'll build a layout. I'll have fun with it. I'll do all the scenery. I'll run some operations if that's a thing on that layout. And then I seem to lose interest after maybe 6 months or so. And then I end up just letting it collect dust until I inevitably tear it down. And I repeat this cycle. So I really love the build, maybe as much as I like operating them. And so this has been kind of a problem because it costs a lot of money to build a model railroad. And if I'm going to lose interest in it that fast, it's just not very financially feasible to continue in this kind of cycle for my whole life. So I've decided that I have a better time running operations than I do just watching a train go in circles. And it used to be all about the big layout, the long runs, the real scenic runs. I do like to watch a train run by with all of its cars and all the details. I really do like that. But I tended to lean, on my last layout, I tended to lean more towards the operations. So that brings me to the topic of this new video and this new channel that I've started here, Aaron's Trains. And, I'm going to be building a operational layout, a switching puzzle, if you will. So this is going to be just like a lot of switching and industry, and I'm just like at the bare beginnings, right? So I just have a little really crude 2x4 and plywood benchwork built in my storage room, and I'm pulling out old track and old switches, and I'm just starting to lay things down to get an idea of how I might want this to work. So here I have this bench work. It's just two feet wide. It's just a 4-foot sheet cut in half of just 1/2-inch plywood, and then some 2x4 shelving that I basically have built this really crude. These are actually shelves that were out in the old sunroom. I tore them down and I've repurposed them. It doesn't look pretty, but it is level, and so it's just 2 foot deep and 13 feet long along this wall in my storage room here. So this is where I keep a lot of my equipment and boxes and just leftover stuff, whatever. So now I've just taken out some old track and I've just started to lay it down in a way that kind of makes sense, rearranging things. These are just kind of sitting here for now, but I've come up with a bit of an idea of how I would like this track plan to go. So there's no loops, but it's just an end-to-end industrial type setup, and everything is just mocked up really crudely, but I want to run around here and I want to run around here. So having some experience from past layouts, I know that I definitely want to run around. I want to be able to get my locomotive from one side of the cars to the other. I also want to put enough space between the turnouts on the runaround so I could fit 4 cars safely and let other trains pass by. And so this is like a puzzle, like a switching puzzle type layout, because there's so many options and switches. And so, you can park trains all over the place and have different yards and industries on the end. So I have a few buildings, but I'm just getting them out of their boxes. And I have a car repair shop and stuff that one of these will run into, and I can just use these industries however I want. This one, cold storage, I just built this with a chunk of plastic from something I bought. I don't know, you got to get creative. Like this building here, it's an old rainbow rotini box. So I've got creative on some old spaghetti box, some old Christmas buildings, and I might get rid of these as I replace them with better real models like this. But basically, this is the crude layout, and I've thought about it, I've slept on it, I've considered different things, and it's pretty much to the point where I can't really see many flaws with it. I think it'll be a really fun operational layout, and so I'm going to take some photos of it, and that will give me a memory of it. And I went to the Home Depot, and I bought some of this foam board. This is 1.5 inch foam board that I'm going to put on here to help deaden the sound as well as to create scenery out of it. So what I've always done in the past is just put cork road bed down and then my track on it, which will deaden the sound and give it a realistic look, how it's taller than the rest of the layout. But you can't go downward from the plywood, you know, and the truth is, between tracks like this, oftentimes there's kind of a ditch, you know, that's realistic, and you can't do that with the plywood. I mean, you could with a chisel or something. It gets really messy. It's just not realistic. But with the foam board, now I can kind of carve it out, and we could put in trestles, and we can put a lot more contour into it. So now that I've got a little bit of an idea of how I want the tracks to look, I can take photos, and I can take all this track off and all these buildings off, and then I can get this foam adhered down onto my bench work with a little bit of this spray foam. As you can see, I've got, you know, it's kind of like these lines are going to be coming from out of town, and this is how we're going to really get into the switching layout. And so, you know, this is kind of one branch that's going to be up top, and then kind of another line that comes down below, but we're going to be able to cross over between them in a couple of spots. And so this is pretty crude. And the nice thing about this flex track, you know, if you're using like that easy rail or whatever that's like got the plastic attached to it, it's really kind of for beginners. This stuff, you can cut it to whatever length you want. So, and that becomes important, and a lot of things should be considered, because I've built layouts before. I put a switch, you know, too far up or something like that, and then you could only fit like 2.5 cars, or not, you know, it just wouldn't be an even number of cars. And so like for each industry, I might say, you know, I want there to be able to be 4 cars here, 4 cars here. So you want to give room for that, whatever trains you want to park at each industry. Some industries would only take a couple of cars. Down here, I want to be able to push one through, you know, but I can move the buildings. But really, just getting an idea of all the different branches and spurs where I might want to save cars, and then be able to back them up, run around the train, come back, connect, you know, come out. And then there's even like kind of this long run here. If I want to just, you know, get that feel of sort of a long run, I can take a bit of a run on these. It's going to be a slow operational layout, you know, so I'm not going to be running fast trains. Everything's going to be prototypical for a crowded kind of urban area. So these trains are rarely going to be going more than like 20 miles an hour, which in scale speed is pretty slow, but it adds to the realism of the operations, and it adds to the fun of it, I think. So I'm glad that you're watching my channel, and I hope that you stay tuned. Make sure to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell, because as I continue to put out videos, I also have another YouTube channel that's pretty successful. We got over 65,000 subscribers now, and it's about wild mushrooms. So this is totally different, but I'm going to just document this whole switching layout as I build it, and just keep uploading them onto this channel. So if you like what I'm doing, definitely leave a positive comment, give me a thumbs up, and I'm excited to get moving on this. So welcome to Aaron's Trains, and make sure to check out the next video. Thanks.